Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Hussnain Ali from Bagh School, grade 12 and 13 chemistry teacher, A levels. Students, today our topic of discussion is electron affinity. So, what is electron affinity and how it is categorized? First of all, we would be going through the categorization of the electron affinity. The different types of electron affinities are first electron affinity, second electron affinity, third electron affinity, etc. Specifically, the first electron affinity is defined as it is the amount of energy released when 1 mole of gaseous anions are formed from 1 mole of gaseous atoms. Here you can see the general representation where X gaseous atoms, that is 1 mole, is added up with 1 mole of electrons to form 1 mole X negative anion in gaseous state. The amount of energy that is released in this case is known as electron affinity, first electron affinity. It is an exothermic process. So here the delta H is represented to be negative. For the example's sake, you can see here 1 mole of hydrogen gaseous atoms form 1 mole of hydride ions in gaseous form. The electron affinity is minus 73 kilojoule per mole. Here 1 mole of chlorine gaseous atoms form 1 mole of chloride gaseous anions. The electron affinity is minus 349 kilojoule per mole. So by definition, electron affinity is an energy, so its units are kilojoule per mole. Key points relevant to electron affinity are electron affinity is relevant to the energy that is either lost or that is either gained during the anion formation, while it is opposite to the ionization energy, because ionization energy is the energy related to the cation formation. Ionization energy, as we know from our previous knowledge of AS, that it is always positive. That is, this reaction is an endothermic process. While electron affinity can be both positive and negative depending upon its type under consideration. This is a very key point because the examiner do ask this question within the paper. So we would be discussing the electron affinities and its types, and which type is positive, having a positive energy, which type is having a negative energy, or which is an endothermic process, which is an exothermic process. We will be considering them in the next video. Here we would be specifically remaining to the topic of the first electron affinity. So explanation relevant to first electron affinity, why it is exothermic process. Here you can see first electron affinity is negative because energy is given out. First of all, this is an exothermic reaction. Why? Because electrons are attracted to the nucleus by effective nucleus charge, that is nucleus pull of the protons. It is exothermic because electrons have to lose energy to occupy a lower energy orbital. So the basic thing that is making this process an exothermic process, that is first electron affinity, is that the electron is moving from a higher energy level to a lower energy level and is coming under the pull of the nucleus, which holds that electron to make an anion. Here you can see by the diagram that the incoming electron is at higher energy level. When it moves in the outer shell of the atom, here the nuclear pull attracts that electron and holds it within its outer shell, that is its ultimate shell. So as the electron is moving from higher energy level to lower energy level, a net energy loss takes place. Similarly, this diagram also shows the same thing, that is about the addition of electron in the gaseous atom to form an anion, and it is representing the first ionization energy. Students, hopefully you are finding this video useful, and I am very much confident that you had a clear concept about the first electron affinity. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.